Hello, my name is Ian Hawkins. I'm the editor of PEX Network. Before we kick off today, a little bit of housekeeping. First, PEX Network is where you'll find everything you need to help you navigate the world of process excellence. From the evergreen principles of Lean Six Sigma to the cutting edge in process automation, PEX Network has analysis, white papers, and webinars, just like this one that you're listening to now, always free to attend and always featuring the best ideas from the PEX world's thought leaders. We also produce free-to-attend online events, such as our forthcoming Process Mining Live 2020. You'll see there's a link to the registration page on the top right of your screen. And along the bottom of your screen, you'll find our resource box. In there, you will find a couple of white papers from today's speaker, so do take a moment to download those now so you can look through them at your leisure. There is also the Q&A box. This is where we can interact. If you have a question for our speaker, type it in and hit send. We will cover off as many as we can. And any questions we can't get around to, I will send over to the speaker with your contact details so you can continue the conversation offline. This is also the place to let us know if you're having any technical difficulties. Let us know, and a member of my team will jump on the case and sort out the issue. So on to today's session, driving rapid results with RPA. If you think that RPA is costly, development-heavy, or difficult to deploy, think again. Many processes, from the simplest to the most sophisticated, can now be automated, even for cases in which traditional RPA may not have been an option. The latest iterations of RPA are overcoming the high failure rates and development costs of previous years to deliver rapid, cost-effective solutions across different parts of an organization, all while maintaining control and governance centrally. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Harry Lauer, who is the Director of Product Marketing at Nintex. Harry is a strategic visionary and senior marketing leader experienced in product marketing, sales strategy, goal setting, lead scoring, campaign management, product road mapping, and go-to-market planning, developing and delivering great products and great brands with strategic execution. Who better to tell us about getting the best out of the RPA technology? Harry, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Ian. Welcome, everyone. Yes, I'm Harry Lauer, Director of Product Marketing at Nintex, and it's a pleasure to present to you today on driving rapid results with RPA. Now, I'm joined by Raymond Cabral, who will be providing us a demonstration in a little while on Nintex RPA, and he's going to take us through the product and show you just how easy RPA can be to use. Now, while the title of this webinar focuses on RPA, what I hope to do is twofold. One, I want to provide an RPA overview that is simple enough that you'll be able to leave the webinar with a high-level understanding of what RPA is and an understanding of what it can do for your business. But two, I want to provide some best practices for process automation. So with that, we'll be able to better understand how RPA can play a role in a company's overarching digital transformation journey. Now, digital transformation is the leveraging of digital technologies, processes, competencies to help a business drive value and efficiencies. And RPA can be just one component of that. So let's dive into first what Nintex does. And I just want to level set here a little bit so that you understand where we come from and what we do. So Nintex works in process management and automation. We were founded in 2006, moved to Seattle, Washington, or Bellevue in 2013, continue to grow and expand our capabilities that run from process management through automation, including workflow, RPA, through analytics to analyze your process results, as well as digital documents, e-sign, and the full stack of automation technologies. So what we want to do is actually jump into the agenda, and we're going to start by talking about what is RPA. Next, we're going to focus on some of the benefits of RPA, as well as some challenges seen with some RPA implementations. Next, we're going to have an overview of process automation that touches on workflow and RPA together. After that, let's dive into some common use cases, and we have some case studies as well. Then we're going to go through a list of recommended best practices for automating your business. And then we're saving the best part for last, a demonstration of the powerful RPA technology. So at any time, feel free to ask questions through the chat menu. At the end of the presentation, after the demonstration, we will open it up for further Q&A, and I can address those then. But first, I want to start with a poll question. And if you could take a second and answer this for me, I'd really appreciate it. And then we're going to look at the results. So where are you along the journey to include RPA in your company's processes? So where are you in that journey? I'm brand new to RPA. I understand it, but unsure where it could be useful. Understand it and want to use it. Currently implementing a solution and seeing the results. Now, if you could take a couple seconds and go ahead and submit your answer here, I will click to the results in 3, 2, 1. Let's take a look and see what we got. All right, excellent. I love it. Hey, you know, we are trending across all of the answers, which is perfect. So let's go ahead and move on, and let's start talking about RPA. So I've already touched on Nintex. So RPA, really, it's not as daunting a technology as a lot of people think it is, and really, it can be extremely powerful and extremely valuable to an organization. So let's define it. So robotic process automation is simply software that uses a bot, and you can think of a bot as a virtual worker, just like hiring an employee, but this worker doesn't show up late to work, doesn't talk back, performs its duties on time. It's really somebody who can do anything that a worker can do at a workstation, and I'll go into some more details. But really, it's about performing those repetitive tasks, like copying and pasting data between systems, or reading and writing to a database. Processes such as opening files, folders, bringing in content from other databases, connecting to other systems, APIs, legacy systems, perhaps SAP. So RPA bots, they follow a series of steps similar to how workflow, if you're familiar with that, how workflow goes through a project script. RPA goes through a project script as well. And at Nintex, we call that a bot flow. So I'll dive into that in a little bit more. But again, anything that a human can do at a desktop that's repetitive, manual, that you can teach it via clicks, that's what RPA can do for you. So what RPA is not? All right, RPA is not a physical robot. So you don't have to give up your desk chair. You can keep your chair. RPA is not a workflow. And I'm going to explain a little more about workflows later on, but just keep that in mind. It's a little bit different. So RPA is not machine learning either. Now, machine learning focuses on AI that provides systems the ability to automatically learn and improve from experiences without being explicitly programmed, right? It has intelligence. RPA requires you to direct it. You need to tell it the steps that it needs to take. So RPA isn't HAL, if you're familiar with that character. And RPA is not scary. In fact, we see customers, and we do proof of concepts all the time, where we actually get a customer up and running within 90 minutes. And you can be up and running in a matter of minutes too. So it's a great technology to use and implement quickly and see results rather fast. And again, you're automating rather mundane tasks, right? And then seeing some pretty impressive results. So let's dive into the RPA bot itself. So think of the bot as a virtual worker, as I said, a worker that you can assign a task to, right? So the nice thing is this worker it will do exactly what you say, you teach it, and it will go do it. So bots use the same screens that humans use to complete tasks, such as a website or a software application that's on your desktop. They can be programmed to handle nearly any task, and we're going to show you a demonstration of some of those. So as long as you have a mouse and a keyboard and you have the computer right in front of you, you can teach it to do a whole bunch of great tasks. So it's as simple as saying, look, I need something done. I've created a bot flow to go do it. And my bot is going to take on that project and it's going to complete it. So think of it as like a linear task list, right? Imagine if you have numerous bots all working together to complete a task. You've given them the assignment. They've taken that first step before they move to the next step. They've completed that task. They've moved to the next task, and then they've completed the job. Now, if you have multiple bots, you can assign them different roles within that bot flow and accelerate the speed at which you can get projects done. Or you can take multiple bots, use them on different workstations, and have your entire company running bots, being more efficient, getting jobs done more quickly and more accurately. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we do this at Nintex with something we call RPA Central, managing bots across your organization, providing the administrative tools, but also the security and control that IT demands. So let's talk about some of the benefits of RPA to your company. And the benefits are numerous, and these are just a few here to highlight. First, better accuracy in the work assigned. These bots can complete tasks with 100% accuracy. More flexibility, so bots can work any hour of the day. They don't call in sick. They can work all night. You can assign them to a task, and they will go. Improved employee experience. By allowing staff to be more productive and focusing on more rewarding work, attrition is lowered, and we see this with a lot of our customers. They're able to allow workers to focus on jobs that are more rewarding or that require more thought, and moves those mundane tasks off to the bot. And bots can provide comprehensive insight by improving efficiencies. They help ensure regulatory standards and compliance by producing accurate results every time. So they eliminate that human error. And bots reduce costs. So by completing tasks more efficiently, the ROI from RPA is realized very quickly. And a lot of times we will see customers who implemented RPA actually realize the value in just running one bot flow. And we'll take you through some of those in a little bit here. So what are some typical tasks then? Well, bot can open an email and an attachment and extract data. It can read and write to a database. It can handle data migration and data entry very easily. It can move files into folders. It can log into applications as long as you give it the credentials. Again, it will emulate your steps. You teach it what to do. You provide it credentials, and it will run those processes for you. It can connect to system APIs, make calculations. It can process data extracted from PDFs, Excel, actually pull that copy or those numbers out, put them into, say, an Excel spreadsheet or into another document. It can do web data scraping as well. So these are just some of the tasks that these bots can do. And we're going to jump into some use cases too that you'll see specifically how these are implemented in the real world. But let's not kid ourselves. There are challenges with RPA. And a lot of these challenges are associated with what we call traditional RPA solutions. And there's a lot of RPA solutions out there. Nintex, we have a unique approach to RPA. We like a low-code solution. We like something that's easy for everybody to use. So we think of ourselves a little more as a modern RPA. But let's go through these steps, each of these lines, and let's talk about them. So one, complexity. So complexity of RPA does not equal power. And companies like Apple have proven time and time again that if you want to increase scale of automation with your organization, you need the ability to create and edit automations easily. So with modern RPA, even non-technical minded staff can create robust automations without having a degree in computer science. So this leads to more employees becoming the agents of change within their organization. They don't always need to go back to, say, IT or a developer to change a project script, change a bot flow. Now we give them the controls and the security to make sure not anybody can use it, but we still give them the capability if IT chooses to. The next one is time to value. When you require skills of a designated subset of employees to make your automated processes a reality, it leads to fewer of them being completed. Right? You have fewer people who are focused on it or able to actually implement those automations, and that can be reflected in how fast the business can evolve. So this means less agility for your organization and fewer opportunities to take advantage of evolving market conditions. So with modern RPA, it's really important to realize that fast time to value, right? With low code and really no code tools, giving the power to the workers to be able to automate their tasks easily and quickly. And that leads into the next one, which is speed. So enterprises need to run at enterprise speed. And the problem is that a lot of traditional RPAs believe that speed should cost more and will sell you a single bot. And you can only run one bot at a time. So you can only run one project at a time. And that can really, really slow you down. Now, modern RPA focuses on process automation and not the number of bots. So really, it's your choice if you want to employ one bot or 1,000 bots to get your processes completed. And you get them done in the time frame that you expect. Now, the last one on here is really touching on total cost of ownership. Now, RPA shouldn't require high implementation costs. And with modern RPA, you can scale your RPA capabilities as your business expands, right? And as your automation expertise expands. So you can start small and get comfortable with it, then add users and allow them to automate. You have the control, the security to make sure that they're not running rampant, but you're giving them the access to speed. So those are just some of the challenge areas that we've seen with traditional RPA and some of the ways that certainly Nintex likes to focus on solving those problems. So next, we're going to identify some processes to automate. So these automations can include numerous tools, and we're going to focus on workflow, and we're going to focus on RPA. And for those not familiar with workflow, I want to dive into what that is. But first, I have another poll here, and I hope we get great results like the last one. So what is the most important factor when looking to implement a new technology? Okay, I mean, what is the most important factor for you? One, easy to use, and go ahead and click one of these answers. So easy to use, robust functionality, low upfront cost to implement, a trusted vendor or partner, and strong security features and controls. So again, which one of these are the most important factor when you're looking to implement a new technology? Easy to use, robust, low upfront cost, trusted, strong security. And I'll give you a few more seconds, and then we'll go to the results in 3, 2, 1. All right, look at this. So, and these results are from our first poll. I love it. Okay. Hey, we got results. So I'm brand new to RPA. Okay. So that's great to know. Hopefully we're giving you enough information that you will feel a lot more comfortable. Understand where it could be useful. Yep. We want to cover that. We got some use cases and it looks like we've advanced. So we're just going to move on, and I appreciate you guys answering those, and those will be helpful for us later on. So let's touch on, again, automation all up. And let's focus on what is a workflow. And it looks like perhaps my poll questions got updated. Here we go. Thank you very much for fixing that. So the answer to this, so what's most important, looks like robust functionality. Okay. Obviously, we want the technology to be easier to use. We find that talking to customers as well. A lot of times, some of these technologies take a while to get up and running, and that's not the approach we like to take at Nintex. a trusted vendor. I think that's super important too. And strong security features and controls. So certainly depending on where you sit within the organization, that is hugely important. So thank you very much for completing that poll. So let's move on. Let's talk about automation. Okay, but first, let's touch on what a workflow is. So if you're not familiar with a workflow really is about giving users the tools to automate processes between today's most enterprise-centric management systems. It allows you to collaborate with those platforms, connect to on-premise systems, to utilize cloud workflows, and allow access to mobile users. And there's a list of them here. It's process automation, forms, mobile, doc generation, and routing, e-signature. So let me give you a quick example, right? I don't think this paints the right picture. So say you are a field rep out in the field to inspect equipment for a manufacturing company. You have a call that came in from a customer of yours that's having issues with that machine. So one simple illustration of what a workflow could be is that service tech is in the field. He's inspecting this piece of equipment. On his mobile device, he has a form. And that form he can complete real time in the field, giving detailed information back to his home office. What exactly is wrong with this piece of equipment? What part perhaps needs to be ordered? Perhaps it needs to come in for service. All of that can be entered on a mobile device. It can be scheduled immediately. This is all done via workflow. So there's a workflow sitting on the computer back at the company, or it's running in the cloud. It's getting that input from the form. It's sending out documentation, say, to the parts warehouse. There's a pick list that is actually printed on a printer. A runner in that warehouse can run out, grab that, go grab the part. That part and those service technicians are ready for that piece of equipment before it even hits their shop. So that is just one example of how workflows can be so efficient. Now you attach to that document generation where you're sending out those documents. Say you need a document that requires a signature. E-signature is part of that as well. So I hope I've painted some visual of what a workflow is. So now let's talk about when to use workflow or when to use RPA. Well, actually, I like to say, when do you use workflow and when do you use RPA? Because in tandem, they are extremely powerful. So everywhere you look, RPA is marketed as this secret digitalization success, right? And as we all know, rarely is there a single solution that really can help you achieve all of your goals. And so that's why we like to look at RPA and workflow together. So first, let's look at the types of processes that each generally excel in. So RPA, it's great for high volume, repetitive tasks, the types that are often done by a person. So it's the really boring stuff. Workflow really provides amazing capabilities to address decision-based and high-value scenarios, such as approvals and places where collaboration is key. Next, RPA normally is used to automate more linear tasks, whereby workflows can address those all too common variable tasks. Okay? Now, when you think about it, RPA is perfect for situations where you need to execute very specific tasks, while the workflow encompasses the more whole end-to-end process, okay? And often involves subtasks that are best addressed by RPA bots. And yes, workflows can trigger RPA bots to run project scripts. Now, you'll also find RPA commonly used in environments where legacy systems are in use. So perhaps you have an old AS400 or some other business system, such as legacy SAP, without an API capability. So that is a great use case for RPA. Now, for overall impact upon your business, RPA simply replicates a task as it's done currently, but it uses a bot to do that. So the change can be quite fast, right? You can teach it, you can have it up and running to perform the task that you're doing right now very quickly. Workflow provides the means to truly transform the process and re-envision it for more transformational impact across your business. So really, let's face it. I mean, both of these are needed to respond to scenarios we face in our organizations. You just choose them for the particular task that they are best served for. So where should you use RPA? Now, I like to simplify this. I like to actually just ask some questions. And when we're on calls with customers, one of the things I love is the discovery phase, really trying to solve a problem. We can tell people about the features of RPA all day long, but if it doesn't really resonate and articulate what the value that it brings to them, it's really hard for them to understand. So what I like to do is start with some questions. And we don't have to read them all, but really what I've highlighted is the key elements within there. So does this task take a lot of time or resources or require manual input, extraction, or manipulate data? So really, is it this time-consuming process that's very manual and requires a high touch? Then RPA bots are really designed to help you. So they emulate repetitive manual tasks by learning the same steps in a process as a human would. And you teach it those steps. It's pretty simple. Now, do you have business systems that are, say, outdated or don't talk to each other or lack integration or available API? So we talk about legacy systems, right? Now, bots are really application agnostic. They don't care. They interact with the apps just like a user would on the desktop. So if you give them the credentials, you teach them the keystrokes, they can go do it. Now, when Nintex started in RPA, we started in banking. We had a strong focus in banking. And within banking, a lot, and if you think about it, legacy computer systems, computers really started not only in government, but in banking. Banks adopted computer technology very early on, and a lot of them are still using some very old technology. So we have found that many banking institutions use RPA to automate processes for these old systems that just are, one, too costly to update. They may not have the developer still working for them, and RPA is able to really help them out, extract data from those old systems, put it into new systems, create reports, and we'll go into a couple case studies here. All right, and then the last but not least, do you have like annual, quarterly, monthly processes that are very hard to maintain? You need to do a lot of cleanup and validation. Those types of tasks also are perfect for RPA. So I like to think of it as simple as, is there a keyboard? Is there a mouse? Is it repeatable? Then use RPA. Do you have legacy applications? Let's use RPA. Now, legacy applications, you know that they can be pretty expensive to change, and they tend to be old technology. A lot of times have custom modifications, the challenges with migration, developer-centric, and I put SAP down there as one of them. A lot of times the developer's left, and then you're left kind of holding the bag. So let's just say why RPA works. You can read through these. I want to make sure we have time to get to our demo. So accuracy, speed, consistency, and so on. So we have a ton of use cases here. And I will be leaving these with you, but within financial services, some great use cases here. Case studies such as Johnson Financial Group, saving over $304,000 in man hours in the first year alone, implementing RPA by saving time. Credit unions, we have RPA use cases across pharma and health services. And I'm going to pass through this one because we do want to get to the demo quickly. But other RPA use cases in PubSec, in government, and manufacturing and retail. If you go to nintex.com, you will see a ton of these use cases. So please leverage those. So lastly, before I get to the demo, real quick, I just want to talk about best practices for automation, and we'll move quickly through this. So organizations, as you know, have many disparate systems that you're running, CRM, collaborative apps, you're across the board. What we like to focus on first is ensuring that you can map and manage your processes, understand your actual business processes. Once you understand your processes, you have the opportunity to automate those. And this is where we talk about workflow and RPA. And then after you've automated your processes, go back and analyze those automations. How are they doing? Are they providing you with value throughout your organization? And you can tweak those. So again, start with process management, move to automation, and then move up to analyzing those. So I'm going to close with this. So first, just understand your processes. Those automations are super important. Analyzation, super important. Now with that, I do want to give Ray a little bit of time, so I'm going to turn it over to him for a demo of Nintex RPA. Ray?
Yeah, thank you, Harry. Bear with me for a moment while I share my screen. And let me just make sure the audience can view it. Okay. Just wanted to confirm you can see RPA up on my desktop. Let me try this again. Harry, can you see my RPA?
I still see demo. Yes,
Yeah.
It is up. I see it up.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I'm still seeing the slides, but if you can see it, I'll just go ahead and push forward. So what we're going to go through today is a simple scenario where, believe it or not, there's an organization out there that still does data entry the old-fashioned way, which is a human goes to a website, does a search, and copies the data from that website and pushes it to another application. Today, I'm going to keep it simple and familiar, and I'm going to use Internet Explorer and Excel as my applications. And this organization is now ready to move forward, become up to date, and automate this activity. So someone, probably a business analyst skill set, is going to be our bot flow creator. And I'm going to start with the result and ideal state of this user story and show you what the actual bot is going to do in the end state. And then we'll get into how the bot flow is created and how it's managed inside of RPA Central. And what you see right now on my screen is Nintex RPA. And Nintex RPA is the application where you actually create the bot flow. But before I run this bot flow, I want to just talk through it's more user-friendly than the traditional RPA setup, which is either a coded solution or a competitor. Now, with Nintex RPA, you'll see each individual task that the bot is going to run with this bot flow or this script. And if I were to click into one of the tasks, you can see each individual action that is going to run through in sequential order. So if you look here in this middle panel, you can see it's going to be interacting with Excel, it's going to be playing with the window size, and then it's just going to be sending it values, essentially setting up the headers for the workbook. And then in task 2, it's going to open up IE, navigate to a website, highlight the contents that it wants to scrape, and then as we go down, start sending it to the workbook. So just wanted to give you that overview before I run the script. I'm going to take a step back, start it from the beginning, do it at about 75% speed, and let it play. Now, while this bot is running, I'm going to leave my cursor at the bottom right of the screen so you see that I'm performing none of these actions myself. So the bot immediately opens up this workbook, starts putting in headers, and now it's got a defined search. It's going to search for the state of Hawaii. Let's say this user story researches banks every single month just to keep in mind acquisitions for its portfolio in the future. It's going to get the results. You can see here there's about 8 results from our search on this website. And the bot is actually highlighting every piece of data that it's going to scrape from this website and pass it into the workbook. So in real time, you can see the bot going through every piece of content and pasting it into this worksheet. And when it's done, it's going to close out both applications, and we can set up the bot to do anything we want with the results of this data scrape. Now, again, I worked with these two applications because they're almost universal. Everyone either has IE or has worked with IE at some point. For you Mac users, maybe you use Safari, but it's a web browser at the end of the day. And Excel, everyone I believe has worked with Excel at some point, or Google Worksheets. But Nintex RPA is not limited to these two applications. It can do essentially the same type of activity with any application on your bot or your device. So think of, as Harry mentioned, SAP, terminal emulators, Oracle, web apps such as Salesforce, Workday, ServiceNow, apps that you log into traditionally, and any other application like Notepad, Word, the calculator on the desktop. It can be tied into your bot flow, and I'll show you how in just a moment. So that bot flow has finished running the one time, and the results of that bot flow is actually on my desktop in this workbook here. So it's confirmed that we finished the bot flow, and if I want to see the fruits of the bot's labor, I can just reopen that worksheet and see the results here. So a simple task that was traditionally done by a human has now been completely automated by a bot using IE and Excel. Now, going back to the bot flow itself, I'm going to maximize that window again and just talk through the two-step process to set up the automation with Nintex RPA. Now, obviously, the first thing you have to do is give the bot the script so it knows which individual actions it needs to execute. As Harry mentioned before, it's not a machine learning technology, so it's not going to inherently know what to do. You have to have a human who knows the process intimately, train it. And we do that with the library of actions that we have. Now, I'm just going to show you the entire library of actions to show you what we can do. And you can kind of see from the bar on the left that we can interact with computer actions. We can actually open up a CD tray on the device. Believe it or not, there are devices out there that still have CD trays. So if that's part of your process, hey, you can go ahead and do that. But you can do everything from getting data, opening workbooks, locking the screen. You can do logic, so if scenarios, if else scenarios, loops, store creds, send creds to your web app. So if the bot is attended by a human, they don't have access to those creds. They're just stored in the bot, and it sends the creds to whichever web app you're looking to log into. Calculate values, refer to lists, refer to databases, zip files, store files, create folders, etc. Pretty much any possible thing you can do with a mouse, a keystroke on a desktop. But Nintex RPA does not require you to know these actions. So you don't need to go to each individual action as you're building your bot flow and say, okay, I need to do this, so I know I have an action for this, I'm going to click it and set it up. It's actually much simpler than that. When you script a bot flow with Nintex RPA, you actually go through the process one time, and the bot performs each individual action as you're scripting. So as an example, let's say I want to tell the bot to send a value to cell A11. Nintex RPA has this targeter at the top left, which you can click and hold and use to target any application you have open on your desktop or device that has the bot. So in our case, we're just going to go to Excel. You can see that the targeter is identifying cell A11 as what I want to target. I can go up to the workbook and have macro actions like creating a workbook, closing a workbook. But when I go to the cell, it's going to tailor the actions that I can perform in that cell over on this bar to the right. So these are all tailored worksheet specific actions that I can do with that target. So you can see I can clear the cell, copy cell, and I can also send data to the cell. So let's say I just wanted to send it a piece of text. I can put in something static. So I can say this is a test. And I can also include variables that I store into my bot. And variables are simply just where we temporarily hold data that we scrape. So think back to going to the website, copying the data. They were temporarily stored in these variables so we can pass it on to the workbook. So let's say I also want to include the city here. of Honolulu, which is in my variable. I can then have this trigger at the bottom that says run left on, which means the bot is going to perform that one action as I'm creating my script. So once I click OK here, if I were to go back to my worksheet, you can see that I actually pushed that value, including the variable, to cell A11, right? And that is tailored and a deep integration with the app itself. Now, let's say I were to open up IE, just as an example, keep it simple. Nintex RPA, when I target IE, is going to sense that this is an entirely different application. So you can see the actions that I get to the right and the preview of the app are completely different than when I targeted the cell. So I have more IE-specific tasks, either opening the app, or if I wanted to target like a specific link within the website, I can pick the option of clicking that link or navigating to a different directory within the website. So to actually run through and set up the bot, you're actually just going through the process you're looking to automate, and the bot is performing that task in real time. So it's easy, it's intuitive, and once the bot flow is set up, it becomes very simple to know where you need to make changes in the future, because the actions are stored as these declarative, interactive fields on the actual bot where you can change content. So if you know, hey, I want to target a different cell in a certain part of your bot flow, you can just go to where you're sending it values. Let's say, column B changes to something else. You can just go right to that specific action and say, you know what, I want to not target column B anymore. I want to target column C. And then just like that, that part of the bot flow changes. You don't need to go through 400 lines of code like you would a traditional RPA way of setting up a bot, and actually know what part of your script is performing that specific action. It's a lot more user-friendly in that sense. So once you go through that process of setting up the bot flow, you can save it and then publish it in Nintex RPA, which, as Harry mentioned earlier, is where we manage all of our bot flows when they're triggered, whether it's scheduled or manual. So I'm going to flip over to that now and show you just a little bit of RPA Central. Now, RPA Central is what you see here in my browser, and it allows you to upload all of your bots so you can then designate which bots run which bot flows. So you can see here right now I just have the one bot, which is the current laptop that I'm on. But if you have a collection of machines or virtual machines, you can have an entire army of bots uploaded to RPA Central, and then either disable them, reset them, or enable them here. You will associate them to your RPA license, and that's how we know which RPA Central environment to push them to. Once that's done, you can then designate each bot with a certain role. There's administrator, and then there's designer. Designer just gives the machine the ability to create bot flows. The administrator can actually publish the bot flows and then create the jobs or events which trigger those bot flows. And then licenses just shows you your bot flow allowance. In my org, I have an allowance of 10, which I believe is our licensing minimum. So you get at least 10 bot flows when you sign up with Nintex. You could always buy more, but you can see here which bot flows are published. I currently have 3. I can always unpublish them if I want to discontinue the flow, or if I want to make room for a new script that I want to make part of RPA Central. And then drafts are bot flows that are created on designer devices that haven't yet been published. And then from there, you can go ahead and start creating jobs. So a job is a reference to a bot flow that can then be scheduled to run. So here I'm referencing a specific bot flow. It is not scheduled, but over on the right, I can either create a schedule to have it occur perhaps once a month. Maybe this data scrape is done once a week or once a month, and I want to set that up to run automatically. Or I can do a manual start, which is super handy when your stakeholders that want to run the bot manually don't want their device to be consumed by those actions and RP actually running on their device. So let's say I'm here using my laptop and I want to use a back office machine in Bellevue, which is where our headquarters is at. I'm actually in Southern California. I can have this bot flow run on a separate machine and manually start it here without actually being at that machine or at that bot. Very, very handy. And then if you want to tie it to data sets, I haven't done that here, but we can connect to certain data sets to use as part of a bot flow. And then each run is logged as an instance. So if you schedule a bot flow or you run it manually, whether it's successful in queue or otherwise, that will get logged here in the instances. And that at a glance is Nintex RPA. And that concludes my demo. So Harry, I'll hand it back to you to conclude the webinar.
All right, Raymond, thank you so much. That was great. All right, everybody, if you go back to the slide screen, we have a couple minutes to go through some Q&A. So Ian, do you want to tee up some questions?
I will indeed. We're coming up to time, but we'll see how quickly we can get through these. So first of all, I will start with Scott Phillips from the University of Michigan, who says, I work with many small manufacturers. Would RPA be a fit for them? What would the use case be?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Absolutely. So, a couple just top of mind for manufacturing. Inventory management. So RPA is great with inventory management, so you can easily keep tabs on inventory levels. So say people are updating inventory levels to an Excel spreadsheet. RPA can actually be monitoring that, and when inventory levels get to a certain point, it can notify managers that stock's low and automatically reorder. Another one is shipping status confirmation. I love this one. So if a customer receives a shipment, they can text in, yep, I got it. RPA can actually monitor that system and then notify your records that the customer actually got it, kick off a workflow to send out an auto reply to customers. So those are a couple scenarios.
I think the point is, Harry, that actually people used to think this was all very expensive and would only happen in huge companies and multinationals, and actually it is now becoming to a price point which is possible for smaller manufacturers and the like to use it.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's the implementation cost with the professional services that really gets a lot of companies bogged down in spending that $100,000, $200,000 up front to get started. And that's why Nintex loves no-code, low-code solutions. Is you can get started 10 buffaloes quickly and cheap.
Well, that comes on to another question, which is how quickly can an RPA project be implemented?
Yeah, we do proof of concepts. We love having customers come in and do a proof of concept with us in 90 minutes. And in 90 minutes, we can actually set up a process, a bot flow for them and get that running. So if the process is very simple, absolutely, it's easy to do in a matter of minutes. If it's something more complex, it does take more time. But again, the tool is easy enough to use that we can train the users within the organization and they can be off and running quickly.
Sure. I tell you what, we'll make this the last question, which is how do you calculate the return on investment for RPA?
Yeah, we like to look at the speed of value is really how quick can you accomplish a task. So if you have less man hours that are on a project, boy, that saves you a lot of dollars. And we look at companies who say bring in a contractor at the end of the year to try to complete a process right before, say, tax time. They'll hire 40 subcontractors to complete a task, and that can cost them about $10,000 in the matter of very short time. So that right there, you start realizing the cost savings. So it's really about that time value. And then also with a lower implementation cost, you're going to see that return much quicker.
Great. Thank you very much indeed, Harry. It's all useful stuff. I've put the resources slide up for you, audience, now, which will tell you what's in the resources box. There's Breaking the Efficiency Barrier, Understanding Data Automation. There's Nintex RPA, Automate Routine Tasks at Scale Without Code. And there is the opportunity to request a demo. There's the URL. You just put that in, and you will be taken to an offer to do a demo. Those are available for you to download right now. I'm going to leave this with the last question as I finish out. What did you find most valuable in today's webinar, and what would you like to learn in the next webinar? I'll give you a couple of moments to type your answer in there while I close out. Also, if you would like a demo, just type the word demo in, because we'll be backing all of these up and passing them to Harry and his team to look through. So that's all we have time for today. If we haven't got around to your question, we'll be sending them over to Harry with your contact details so he can give you a response offline. A reminder, you can access a couple of white papers in the resource box, and you can sign up to Process Mining Live 2020. So from me, Ian Hawkins, and Harry Lauer, wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of what's left of the week. If you hit the submit button on the box now, we're going to say goodbye. Thanks very much for your time. Goodbye.